Heather Fiore, 313 Avenue. I have a few questions, primarily pertaining to the rec summer camp. One, it's my understanding that the rec director is telling people that the summer camp no longer exists. So I'd like to find out why. From the explanation that was given, it's due to the increase in insurance as well as the requirement for an RN, neither of which is true. So I'm trying to find out what the status is on that. I also understand that it's been said that for financial reasons, they can't hold summer camp. But at the same time, a few meetings ago, the rec meeting, there was in excess of $35,000 that was requested to be transferred from the excess summer camp fees into the events trust. And if we are not able to afford summer camp, why are we giving away money from summer camp?
You hear me?
Oh, we can.
Sorry, I'm with this. Okay, I would just like to make a statement about the Hopatcong Recreation Summer Camp questions that are coming up. We are not doing a summer camp. One of the reasons why we are not doing a summer camp is because there is an established summer camp at the Hopatcong schools that was run last year. It was run successful and people were very happy with it. So we are not going to compete with another business in town and try to ruin their summer camp when we know that they are running their summer camp again this year at the Hopatcong schools. If anyone has any further questions or comments or concerns about anything that the Hopatcong Recreation Commission does, they should come to our meetings, which are the second Tuesday of every month. We do them in person, and you are welcome to come address the commission and ask us these specific questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. More comments?
The Recreation Committee is not meeting until March 8th, and just said, I'm not sure how you know, that the school district is meeting with Alpha Best.
That's from your superintendent. That's how I know. I do talk to the school, so make no mistake.
When you have a Zoom meeting. When you have a Zoom meeting, you have to have a little leniency with technology. So I was in the meeting the entire time. I've had my hand raised when you let me back in, and I wasn't able to speak. I'd like a moment to speak. Usually there's comments at the end as well. Looks like those were removed.
Our meeting don't have comments at the end.
That's unfortunate because you have a member.
Yes, it is, but that's the rules that we have, Nicole. I'll give you some time because in all fairness, I don't normally do it, but go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Can I ask, Nicole, are you speaking as yourself or for the board?
I'm speaking as myself, of course.
Okay.
That's why I'm here.
Just checking.
Okay,
Yep.
sure. So I've been a resident here my whole life, and I've been through the summer camp program like you spoke about it. Mr. Francis, when you were speaking about it, actually made me really nostalgic because I was a camper, a counselor in training, and a counselor was my first job. Probably part of the reason why I'm a teacher now. So
it works.
So when I hear that the camp isn't running this summer, and honestly, my kids don't need to go to it because I'm fortunate enough that I'm home in the summer with my kids. But I know my neighbors' kids and just the kids in town go to it. I was upset to find out that it wasn't running. Now, last year, COVID was a strange year. I'm not sure why the town couldn't run it. Sounds like there was a lot of regulations, and I understand that now. But we're coming out of this, and the Alpha Best Camp only is running or might run if the town can offer it, because the school realizes how important and vital care is for children, okay? But it's not that they're running it. It's a done deal. This is a conversation that the town should be having at the rec meeting, I guess, with the schools in conjunction. The schools, actually, Mr. DiBenedetto took it upon himself, and I think maybe Mr. Francis, you were in on that conversation, to offer something as a last-ditch effort. But now as people are returning back to work, not to very high-paying jobs, I just can't fathom how the rec department doesn't see this as a need. I think it's wonderful that we do all of the daily things for children down the holidays, but this is 2 months that only impact parents, but impact the kids. And talk about providing local job opportunities for parents that maybe can work there, kids in high school who can get on-the-job training just like I did. And I appreciate that you said that things were better years ago. Who says that we can't make things a little bit more like that in Hopatcong? The good old days of having a summer camp run by kids who live in town. I mean, I don't know what all the regulations are, but from what I read, doesn't need to have a nurse. It doesn't need to be fancy. It needs to be competent people who care for kids and want to have a good time. So I'm really disappointed to find out, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, that just because Alpha Best ran it last year, that the Recreation Committee is hands off. And all the things that you listed that the Rec Commission does and the coordinator does, that's great. That sounds like a job that someone gets paid for. I personally help tremendously with the wrestling program in town. I do all the things that Miss Emilian does for basketball, and I don't get paid. And there's people on here who do the same thing for soccer and for football, and they don't get paid either. Now, I don't want to get paid, but I think it's pretty unfair to say that she has too many things to do when she gets paid for it and she has an assistant. And if anything should be offered in this town, I think people would much more appreciate a summer camp that's very affordable for 2 months out of the year than an Easter egg hunt.
Thank you, Nicole.
In this time period.
That's your
I
5
appreciate
minutes.
you letting me speak.
Thank you.
you.
We don't normally.
Question, next Tuesday, they're having a rec meeting?
No, they are not. At their
They're not
last
having a
meeting,
rec, right.
at their last meeting, they decided not to have the February meeting.
So the next meeting that's available is March 8th. Is that
I
correct?
believe so, yes.
Okay. And just, maybe I should have mentioned this, but I know that there was an outreach to Alpha Best about running that camp. It is not an established camp. That was 1 year that they did it because we weren't running ours last year. Alpha Best is twice the cost of our camp. And it's not an established camp. They had it 1 year last summer. And that's the reasons why it's being canceled. It's really just, it's very sad, I have to tell you. So. I have another thing. Alpha Best, I have it on good authority that Alpha Best will back away if we run our town camp. They're not going to care as long as the children have somewhere to go over the summer. I know that Nicole Schubert she got kicked out of the meeting and came back and she wanted to speak, but I'm going to kind of take her words from her. I hope I don't screw them up. They want care for the children over the summer. They don't really care who it is. So Alpha Best will step in if the town doesn't take over. It's not that we're in competition with Alpha Best. The other thing is that these programs, Halloween, Christmas, Easter egg hunt, Hopatcong days for the kids, they're wonderful events and they're provided for, but you're talking about 4 events a year for the children, whereas the sports and the camp are self-funded by the parents. The parents pay for their children to attend the camp. It's not like a budget line item from our municipal or recreational budget, and neither is basketball or street hockey, which are 2 wonderful, great things that we have in the town. I'm saying that we have to offer more to the children, and we're really falling short here. You have a lot of really involved parents. I know that I see a lot of parents on here that are probably afraid to speak up, but you're forgetting that we live in an area that I can't afford to send my children to camp up in Stillwater to the YMCA if they're at $5,000 for the summer. This is a reasonable price item for the parents and children of our community. And I think that it needs to be looked into a little bit more seriously.
Jen, thanks for that. But I have to pipe in. Everyone wants good things for our children and for our constituents for sure. But let's be straight about this. This is a rec issue. If the next meeting, some things come up at the rec, go talk to them and see. It's financial, it's not. Alpha Best is meeting on Monday with the school to try to keep going. I mean, they had a good program last year. So I think, we should leave it up to them. And we can't, as the council, do everything.
No, but we're the
So-
governing body, are we not?
Yes, we are, but
Okay.
they handle it.
Oh, no,
They handle it.
I understand that, but
So I would like to move on.
If you would, I kind of want to say something.
Go ahead.
One of the comments that I've heard, I also heard about summer camp, but another comment that I heard that kind of touched me a little bit was that the Recreation Commission is taking activities from children. And I have a lot of experience with Recreation Commission. I was on the Recreation Commission for 25 years before I got on council. And so I have a lot of history there. And I do want to
Me
say,
too, John.
yes, I know. And I'd like to give everybody in attendance a little brief summer overview of how some of the things in this town have gone. The Easter egg hunt, for example, that was one time run by an independent group in town. And quite a few years ago, they decided not to do it. The Recreation Commission at the time picked it up and ran with it. And I think it's much bigger than it ever was. But the bottom line is it had been done. It was going to evaporate. The Recreation Commission picked it up and did it. The Halloween contest. There was a time when an independent organization had a Halloween festival, I'll call it. And we started to do, I say we, the Recreation Commission started to do a Halloween contest and joined with them to do the festival and the contest. And then some years after that, that organization dropped their Halloween festival. So again, the Recreation Commission expanded their contest to what it is now. Rec basketball, to me, is a big one. There was, again, a group of volunteers similar to Hawks soccer, Warriors football, Little League baseball that ran basketball in town. They actually had two facets of the program. They had a recreation side and they had a travel side. And again, quite some years ago, they were going to drop the recreation basketball side. Recreation Commission decided we can't let that go. And the Recreation Commission picked it up and are still doing recreation. Since then, that group totally evaporated and there's no travel basketball. So the recreation run basketball in town is the only basketball. Street hockey was a new event, had a gentleman, Aldo Capria, came to the Recreation Commission looking to start a street hockey program. The Recreation Commission worked with him and facilitated the program that we now know today. Aldo does a wonderful job with that program, but that is under the auspices of the Recreation Commission. And if it weren't for the Recreation Commission, we wouldn't have it probably. Santa in the Park. Again, years ago, there was another entity that did a very nice Christmas holiday celebration in the park. The Recreation Commission used to do a holiday movie in the high school. And when the other entity dropped out and stopped doing their celebration, I think there was a 2-year gap, but again, the Recreation Commission stepped in and started doing the Santa in the Park, which has kind of replaced that that event. And also it kind of replaced the movie and also the concert that we had sometimes in the firehouse, because we had the high school band for the last 2 years at Santa in the Park. So just kind of a little history of some of the things that the Recreation Commission does and how they started doing them. So just wanted to let everybody know that. Thank you, Mayor.
And
the Recreation Commission, for those who don't know, is an autonomous commission, not a committee. They just don't get together because they have nothing else to do. They do some serious business. We do take them seriously, and it's autonomous, so it doesn't get political interference with what they do. That's an important thing. So let's keep that in mind. And Rich makes a good point. And by the way, they take responsibility for their decisions, I'm sure. And so if you want to address the issue with them, I think that's probably the appropriate place to be. So thank you all for your input. I'm sure that we'll look into this further. Start talking subjects. I'd love for people to come to the meetings. I love to get their call, but what I don't love is information on social media that really is not accurate. And it's convenient, I know, and it's a sounding board. I get all that, but we're better off just sitting down and have a dialogue about that. And I think if we help people understand where we came from, how we got there, I think it will be a little bit more understandable, and there'll be a little more clarity on some of how important and how responsible our recreation department is, and our recreation coordinator, who takes a lot of heat for a lot of stuff. When the former recreation coordinator retired in 2015, a new organization plan was created, and we merged the recreation department with the senior nutrition program. If you remember, it was always done separately with separate people. Originally, the senior program was separate from the recreation and had their own nutrition director and their own staff. We changed that, and under the new organizational chart, the nutrition director position was eliminated, and the workload was reassigned to the recreation coordinator. And a few years back, this got really touchy, but we resolved all that, and I don't tend to revisit that, by the way. And the borough saved a lot of money when we did this, and the Recreation Commission being more involved also made it a healthier program. And the county does give us $27,700 a year towards the program. After the businesses, and that what John was relating to before with the other organization was the Business Association, when they disbanded, all the activities they provided for Hopatcong Days, Halloween, were transferred to the Recreation Department. And the Recreation Department was also assigned all the events that were organized by former elected officials, which included Memorial Day service, 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony, Veterans Day, Miss Lotta Veterans Cruise, Town Calendar, Town Website, Hopatcong Days Organization, and Block Party, and that's just to mention a few. So when you try to make light of all that effort, this is easy stuff to do. Along with the town, along with the crew, the town calendar, town website, all of that it's a lot of hard work. And along with the reassignment, many new events were organized and included in the Recreation Department's yearly schedule. They included the July and August concerts, Santa in the Park, Senior Olympic, the Halloween party for seniors, senior preparation of food for the senior picnic. And I'd also like to mention that the Senior Edition program served 12,000 grab-and-go meals in 2021. We didn't shut down because of this stupid pandemic. We continued our service in a safe way that was approved by the State Board of Health and the County Board of Health. And that was under the direction of the Recreation Coordinator. The nutrition program has become the largest in Sussex County. We're not the largest town, but we have the largest nutrition center with the most participation and the most meals served. That's no light task, folks. So the recreation continues to organize the Easter egg hunt, Memorial Day parade, Hopatcong Days, and all the budgets, audits, street hockey, basketball schedules for the use of the senior center, and you know, by the way, all the use permits are through the recreation. And so I say this because I want people just to get a little bit of a better feel for what goes on and what goes on to the radar that you don't see a lot of times. They're responsible for inspection from the state and the county and all the county paperwork and senior nutrition budget, and it gets audited regularly. And so and we do fine with that. So I'm just trying to make the point that this is this is no like, oh, let me come in and see what I'm going to do today. It's not so. It's a lot of work. As far as summer recreation is concerned, the program was never administered by the recreation coordinator. I could tell you when I was chairman of rec, it was the coordinators were Joan Riley, may she rest in peace, and Judy Crock, who's still around and he's on our land use board. But them two women, along with myself, I just said, what do you need? They just said what we were going to do. And that's how that worked. And it was very effective. It was about 9 to 2. It was really meant for children to come have some activities and some arts and crafts, but mostly outdoors. And when it rained, indoors. We had coloring books. We had stuff that was a little bit more rudimentary than today. But the point I'm making is it was an activity for the kids. It really wasn't daycare. It wasn't. Although you might call it that, but that was not the intent. The intent was the health and the experience of our children so that they can enjoy each other and some skills that, Joan was very exact and Judy was the mother. So it's a pretty good combination of the two, but that was a little bit history on that. The Recreation Commission was in charge of hiring camp director who handled all the camp activities. And I think back in 2018, he left. And that just threw a monkey wrench into everything that we were doing that had to do with payroll, trips, day-to-day function. The recreation coordinator handed that job and did it pretty good, actually. She organized the camp for 1 year until the COVID pandemic struck and the camp was unable to open because of a lot of state directives at that time, if you recall. And Alphabet, which is the after-school program, was taken over. They ran a pretty good program last year. I've been told by the school administration they're having a meeting on Monday, and they'll probably talk about what they can do. If you need more information, just go to recreation. Let me know what I could do to help you understand. But it's not like we're ignoring things. But we're trying to do the right thing, and we're trying to do it as best we can. So, I hope I helped a little bit. And you can demand a lot of stuff, but you look at today's world is not like yesterday's world. For crying out loud, we used to have what they call councils in training. Remember that, John?
That's
we
right.
had 13-year-olds and we were training. If we did that today, we'd have the state stepping on our neck. We can't do today what we did in the late 70s and early 80s. It was really a simpler time. I'd like to say a better time. But we have to accept the reality of this is a new world that we live in. And we have to look at all the liabilities, and not the least of which is getting help. I talked to Business Town. They can't help. So to the assumption that we could do this and everything's going to be hunky-dory, we get all the people we need. I have a granddaughter that has a college degree in this recreation stuff, and she runs camps down in South Jersey and Pennsylvania. And they have a nightmare. And these are much more sophisticated than we do, but we will continue looking into it. We're not going to stop looking into it. The Recreation Commission is, I'm sure, prepared to look into it more, and they will. But when they make a decision, that's a decision that the Recreation Commission makes. So I hope that I helped everybody a little bit. I know I'm boring you to death, and I'm sorry, but